To support this podcast, go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount is appreciated. Once again, positivesarcasm.com/donate. Thank you and enjoy the program. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by PB and Joey. Simple, honest, and delicious. Go to pbandjoey.com for more information. $35 or more gets you free shipping. That's pbandjoey.com for more information. pbandjoey.com. PositiveSarcasm.com, recorded here from the Spare Parts Studios. Happy Wednesday, everybody. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and until it gets banned, you can find me on TikTok. Yeah. That's how this starts, Mother Dearest.
TikTok?
Yeah.
I thought that was being banned.
I don't do any weird dances. There's no...
But you're such a good dancer.
No, I'm not. I have to remember one thing. I'm Jewish and I'm white. All right? That's 2 strikes against me. I am...
Okay.
Remember.
Okay.
There's a couple things you didn't teach me how to do. We're gonna do this.
Okay.
We're gonna do this.
What didn't I teach you how to do?
Well, number one, you did not teach me how to tip. You realize in my first few years of ignorant existence that when you sent me to get my hair cut...
Oh, you didn't realize that you had to tip.
You just gave me money and said, here. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. My privileged existence. Special ed teacher and a cop for a father. So, fucking sue me reparations.
What else?
You didn't give me... Yeah. I just went and paid, and then I realized, oh, wait, you're supposed to tip these people?
I didn't
and
realize...
Like, now I feel... It's like when I tried to kiss Jen Martin in 6th grade. I felt like a piece of shit for the longest time. I'm sorry, miss. I just cheated you out of at least a couple $100 for the last couple of years because my friggin' mother didn't give me money. She didn't inform me in the world that I tip everybody. That's the philosophy.
I do too.
Yeah.
And it's
now
always more than 20%.
And now I had the Steve Martin problem. I over-tip.
Uh-huh.
I over-tip everybody.
Yeah.
The last time I was in an Olive Garden, I tipped somebody 50% just to spite the person I was with.
Oh.
So there's that.
Okay.
And obviously, since I only learned how to ride a bike when I was 10 years old, I think, I still can't really ride bikes all that well.
I sold my bikes.
Yeah. Like
it hurts my knees.
It hurts your knees?
Yeah.
Oh, so...
I walk. I run. I do my yoga.
You run still?
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
I run with the dogs, or the dogs run with me.
So, now that is a concern. I do have a thing on this podcast about health and wellness. Actually, a couple weeks ago, I just talked about breast cancer.
Okay.
Like, I found an interesting topic about breast cancer, and there was vitamins and supplements and food that you could take, because, believe it or not, in case you folks don't know, breast cancer is a legit thing. Like, that's a legit thing. It is a legit problem for ladies.
Oh,
you got it.
You think?
And there are... Cancer is generally 90% of cancers can form from glucose. But the fact is that we can't turn back the clock. If you have breast cancer, you have to attack that problem now, and not just through chemotherapies or whatever. You have to attack it through your nutrition.
But then it's also the genetic component.
Yes, and you have to be aware of that how you eat, how you supplement, how you exercise.
Knock wood.
And you
Yes, dear.
have, what is that called?
Celiac?
You have celiac disease, which is a gluten intolerance. Actual gluten intolerance.
Yeah.
Not like you're some actress from Hollywood and says, no, thank you, I don't eat bread. You have a legit...
Oh, I eat bread, but it's gluten-free.
You're one of the originals, like, I can't eat that.
Yeah, I've been gluten-free for over 13 years already.
Has it been 13 years? Jesus Christ. 2007?
Yep.
I wasn't making that much money back then.
Right after I retired, and we moved to Florida.
So...
Yeah.
How did you go down that road? Because
how did I go down that road?
Because here's the thing. Obviously, carbohydrate, there's an argument about how it should be implemented, processed carbs, that whole thing. And that's super important. I bitch about it all the time. However, yours was from a different path. Did you have symptoms?
I've always had IBS, even since 2nd grade, where I would get, a major stomach ache and... Yeah. And we don't have to go into real gory details. But, my life was, I always ate a lot of bread, good bread, pasta I love, cakes and cookies I love, and I guess when we moved, I was eating a lot of all those things, and then all of a sudden one day, the pain and the diarrhea and the vomiting and the whole body aching and not being able to get out of bed. So I was having basically like a gluten attack, and I was miserable. I didn't know what it was. I figured it was like a flu or something like that.
Yeah.
So what was I treating myself with? Toast and jelly, tea, and wonton soup. So what was I doing? I was hurting myself even more. So finally, I was just doing bland stuff. Went to the doctors, had all the blood work done, fecal sample and all that stuff, and sure enough, bingo.
How long did, from when you decided to go to the doctors to when they actually pinpointed what they said was wrong with you?
A week.
A week.
Oh, yeah. My doctor was great.
So it was your primary care physician
Yep.
did all the work.
Yep.
And diagnosed you.
Yep.
Okay. So a week actually is not bad.
Yeah.
Because within a week, you're actually able to turn yourself around. And
Exactly.
you were never a big person.
No, but
you were active, you were beating the street of New York City for the longest time.
I lost, let's face it, I went from like a size 10, 12 to a size 6, and I'm still a size 6.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that for the long... Yeah, obviously you had...
But I had the IBS as well, so...
Always?
Since second grade, as I can remember. Maybe it was first grade even. I've just always had that very sensitive stomach. Mm-hmm. My father had the same thing.
Okay.
So.
But through all of it, you still had the dirty water diet. The hot dogs of New York, the pastries and everything.
Yeah.
Like back then, you were eating the carbohydrates of 1950, 1960.
Oh, absolutely. Give me a hot dog and I'm a happy camper. And pizza? I lived on pizza.
But that was a different... That was when, just before carbohydrates and food was starting to be processed.
Yeah, even more so.
Right. And then, obviously, you moved down to... When you moved out of
New York?
Yeah, when you moved
out to the island.
Either way, you started to have more symptoms.
When we lived on Long Island, I had some really bad symptoms, and I didn't really tend to them. And a lot of it was, I thought, just nerves. Mm. But if, your father and I went out to eat, and driving on the way home, I would have to say, stop the car at a gas station. I'd have to go to the bathroom. Really bad. And the pain and the sweats and, yeah. I've been dealing with this a long time. It was even worse in Florida. The first time we moved before you were born.
Yeah.
Because I hated being there, so I was constantly not happy. And that definitely played on your gut.
So the idea of not... So, because I do think it's important to pinpoint, the fact that right now there's a lot of breads and pastas and some rices. Mostly rices are just simple carbs. It's simple gluten. Mm-hmm. But even some cheeses, too. They have massive... Obviously, gluten is... To have a higher yield for the crops, they stuff it full of gluten. Mm-hmm. To the point where the amount of gluten that you ingest in a piece of bread is borderline toxic.
I might think so, but
if you you were eating a piece of bread that was fresh, like sourdough, that was relatively normal or lower in gluten, you wouldn't have really that much of an attack.
I don't take chances because I don't want to feel...
But you don't take chances because there's enough products out there.
And it's not worth going through that pain, the feeling, the discomfort.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it. And it's not healthy when your body goes through all that. And it takes a while till you actually get your strength back. Yeah. It knocks you on your ass.
Well, your body's not able to process it.
Right.
It's such a
and you can't, and you're not eating food.
It's almost like having a micro dose of food poisoning every day.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've had that too. But,
but now the market has shifted, not like the vegan movement. You are actually still able to eat breads. And when I say these generic lines, I'm saying the gluten-free
everything
forms
I eat that is normally with gluten, I do without gluten. I read labels. I don't go anywhere. The glasses go on. And I'm reading the labels. And I read the labels.
No, I think here's the thing is, I see it as there is an actual issue with that. Because they tried to overprocess our foods to the point where it isn't healthy for you.
Right.
Imagine a imagine just like a straightforward apple, and they processed the shit out of it. Like they literally took applesauce and just like pieced it together to the point where they took applesauce and made an actual apple.
Right.
It's like, where the fuck did this thing come from?
Yeah, exactly.
But,
gross.
Like pasta, they removed pretty much all, but all the gluten from it, so you can actually have a carb.
Yeah, it's brown rice or it's white rice. A lot of corn pastas. Now they're making a lot of the pastas from vegetables, which I have not tried yet because I'm a,
But you're traditionalist.
Give me pasta.
White,
it's got to be white.
White penne, white rigatoni.
It's got to be
fettuccine.
white, yeah.
Right, because it's not like, you're not...
And you have to know how to cook it, because if you overcook it, you get mush.
Right, you actually cook it, I think you cook it less.
Sometimes more. It depends on if it's the brown rice or if it's the white rice or if it's the corn. They all have different... And you read the package and whatever it says, go by that.
Because generally speaking, like if those foods that you're eating that are heavier in gluten, it's heavier on your stomach, and it takes a while for your body to process.
I realize I'm eating less pasta. When I make a thing of pasta, I'll realize, oh, gee, I made too much. Well, that's for tomorrow.
Now, what foods that are now this is important because people should consider if whatever carbohydrates are in their diet, what to take out, and to take advice from somebody who is gluten free. What carbohydrates are you eating that people wouldn't realize are actually gluten free? Like, for example, you eat rice.
I love rice.
And you just eat regular rice, right?
Yeah. Oh, basmati.
Basmati, the jasmine rice, right?
Basmati is basmati. Jasmine is jasmine. They're two different rices.
Okay.
I like the basmati. I like the texture. I like the flavor. It's almost nuttier.
But at the end of the day, it's not any different than any other rice. Like as far as...
White, plain Uncle Ben's or minute rice? Well, rice is rice.
Pretty sure Uncle Ben just got canceled about 2 weeks ago. R.I.P. Uncle Ben.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. Oh, and I'm so upset about Aunt Jemima, but whatever.
I know. She's pretty pissed off, too. I talked to her last week via text message. So that is one. So if you have a gluten intolerance or you're not making a huge shift in your life. You're still eating rice.
You're just aware more of what you're eating.
So you're not removing that from your life. It's just an idea of having a sensitivity to something that has become so toxic. They put it on the shelves. It's like, oh, you like chicken? Well, here's a hungry man dinner. Oh, you want an American hamburger? Here, go to Wendy's.
What I wouldn't give for good Southern fried chicken. I mean, real Southern fried chicken. That's the one thing that, God, I wish I could just get my teeth into, but...
Well, why can't you? Is it because of the breading?
Because of the breading.
Now, do they... Well...
I could probably... I mean, you have to do it with buttermilk and, it would be different. But, you try breadcrumbs and you try breadings and whatnot, and there's a lot of good stuff out there. There's a lot of stuff out there that's gross.
Well, we should probably get to some labels in a minute. Some labels that you could... like.
Some of the companies that I get... Excuse me.
So definitely start printing those out in your head, and we'll spit them out on the microphone in a second, because that's like super important. Like when I talk about vitamins and stuff, like for example, if you were to go get fish oil pills, at this point, if you're just trying to save money because you spent so much of your deductible and you're literally just trying to get back to basics, just find a fish oil and start putting it in your daily supplementation. Yeah. Vitamin D, I don't give a shit where you get it. Just go to the vitamin shop or wherever.
Just go outside and get some fresh air and sunshine. Oh,
I'm sorry, Mom. We don't do common sense here.
No, I have to take calcium and vitamin D. I'm a woman. I'm over 50.
What's your vitamin cabinet? Give me your list.
Okay. I take a multivitamin for women. I take calcium and vitamin D. Okay. I take B12.
Yep.
I take vitamin C.
Okay.
And then I take omeprazole, which is Prilosec.
Okay.
And I take dicyclamine.
What is it like a...
For GERD, I have gastric reflux.
Okay.
That's one thing else I have.
All right.
Thank you, Daddy.
What's the other one? You said the last one?
Dicyclamine. It's a teeny tiny little blue pill. But let me tell you, when I take that, I don't get an upset stomach.
So this is all for stomach issues.
Yeah. Well,
you take no anti-anxieties. You take...
Oh, yeah. I do at night.
You take an anti-anxiety medication?
Yeah. Because I don't sleep.
What do you take?
I take trazodone.
Why do you take that?
Because when we moved to Florida, I couldn't sleep because I was miserable.
Oh.
And
so have you looked into other methods for that?
I tried the melatonin and the valerian.
Melatonin's kind of hit or miss.
Yeah, it wasn't working, so my doctor gave me Ambien, which worked wonderfully.
Yeah.
But then my insurance company wasn't going to cover it, so she gave me the trazodone, and the trazodone, knock wood, for the past 13 years has worked fine.
Well, I mean, as that aside,
it's an anti-anxiety. It's for depression, which I guess technically I was depressed when we moved to Florida that second time.
On the West Coast?
Yeah, when we moved to North.
Who the fuck else wouldn't be? It's the West Coast of Florida. There's nothing to do there.
It was just.
By the time you get to the
I hated to use the word hate.
I hated it.
I hated it. Yeah.
I get to the 18th hole. I'm already ready to blow my brains out. I'm telling you something about Florida.
Oh God, here we go.
West Coast is the most, unless you live in like Tampa Bay, it's one of the most miserable places. You can get a super cheap house, and there's a reason it's super cheap. It's basically the Arkansas of the South. There's nothing to do. There's nowhere to go.
Not
the
anymore.
Cops are bored. They don't.
Not anymore. Yeah. It's a freaking zoo. It is so built up that I'm surprised it doesn't fall off the peninsula.
Well, that's California. But on the other side of that, there is the East Coast of Florida. And that...
Not my cup of tea.
Fun. Oh, what? Palm Beach?
Not my cup of tea.
Daytona?
I couldn't live there.
I could.
I couldn't
Absolutely. Right on the water?
Yeah. Hello, hurricane.
What? Oh, I'm sorry. There's no hurricanes on the West Coast?
Oh, yeah.
Listen, there's a reason there's 250,000 Jews in Palm Beach.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
God bless.
So
I know.
They know.
Half my family is down there.
And they fortified it. You see the size of those hotels? Those are fortresses. I'm surprised the hotel...
I couldn't live there.
I'm surprised the hotel...
It's too busy. I don't like busy.
What do you mean you don't like busy?
I like being on the mountain. So? I like my backyard where I am now.
That's not a mountain.
Well, no, it's a swamp. But
Mom, you can see armies from afar away. If you had a scarecrow tower in your house, you could see the British are coming. You could see them coming. They're coming. Hide your chickens. They know.
Don't touch my chickens.
Actually, we have chickens. When I go take for dog for a walk, there's chickens walking around the neighborhood.
You're kidding?
Yeah, they're like gang members.
They allow them?
I
wait,
guess?
you're not within the city limits, or you are?
Yeah.
Or you are?
Yeah.
For now. You allow chickens?
I don't know. I see chickens. The dog sees chickens. Not at the moment, apparently.
Chase, you don't see chickens?
He does. He just kind of like, what the? He's in disbelief. He walks by, he goes, what is that?
It's walking on the ground. It has feathers. It's a chicken.
It's a chicken. And he's just like, all right, I guess we'll just keep moving. So, all right. So besides that what about pop brownies? You eat brownies, right?
I eat brownies, gluten-free.
No, I mean weed, Mom. We could talk about that in this podcast.
My body does not do well with pot.
So it doesn't do well. Well, what about microdosings?
I prefer not.
Not at all. What about CBD oil?
CBD oil I use.
Do you use that to have you tried that to relax before you go to sleep at night?
I use it for muscle aches and pains and crap. I
mean, I wonder if you tried that before you went to sleep to see if that helps you relax. Because there's so many different types of dosing and things like that.
Yeah, I know.
Because I don't know. Because obviously, I'm thinking about it in a precautionary. I always think that there's always... I try to be hopeful and optimistic that there's always an answer before getting a prescription. Yeah. I try to think like that. I know that there's, in some situations... Before putting the revolver in your mouth, that there's always a solution out there.
Don't say that.
Said it. Too bad. But I think like that. Let's get to the root of the problem before we take that route. So I don't know. I mean, but like I said, you've
number one, I'm comfortable with it. I have no adverse reaction. Okay. I do my blood work twice a year. Everything is good.
You ever gone to an endocrinologist, or you just do your PCP lab work?
I do my usual PCP lab work, cholesterol and all that.
What about your
blood?
Yeah. Blood. Well, you are on celiac, which means that you don't take in a lot of carbs, so your glucose is generally pretty low.
Yeah, my glucose is usually
Now,
fine.
Obviously, for random idiots out there, if you don't know, regardless of whether you have celiac disease, if you don't eat a lot of carbs. Or a lot of sugars.
I eat a lot of sugars.
Right.
That's my...
You'll generally have... Or if you burn through it and then you fast. Like, for example, if you stop eating at 8 o'clock and you don't eat again until 8 o'clock in the morning, that's 12 hours. That's the standard fasting lab priors.
Right.
So if you do that, you're going to continuously have low blood sugar. If you have low blood sugar... I don't mean like type 1 diabetics. We're not talking about that.
Just low blood sugar.
But I am talking about you type 2 diabetics. That just means you're lazy. But as far as I'm concerned, it's... You do that if you have less sugar markers in your body, unless you're using them to work out or for energy purposes, you're reducing your risk of cancer. Mm-hmm. You're reducing your risk of inflammation, reducing your risk of seizures, reducing your risk of...
I heal very easily, very quickly from...
Well, you're a movement-based person.
No, I'm an ants in the pants.
Yeah, you're not sitting around watching the news. I hope not sitting around watching the news all day. You don't have a sedentary. You're always walking the dogs. You're always going for a ride. You're always doing things. You're
tending to the chickens,
like for
mowing 7 acres.
Like when you're... Yeah. Well, it matters. Like, for example,
I know.
You know when they talk about football players, the ones who immediately, once they stop playing football, they stop working out, they don't have an afterlife like job-wise, they fall apart, and then the concussion proteins in their brain kick it up a notch, and next thing you know, they can't find their way back to their house. But the ones who do have a career after football generally do pretty well. They thrive. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, once you quit special ed, you still.
I was tutoring.
You still have me as a son, so you never really quit special ed. The idea is you still were tutoring. You were still doing stuff. You were still putting up with dad. You still had a lifestyle.
Oh yeah, I was busy from the time I opened my eyes to the time I went to bed.
You on top of that, I mean, guess to put a marker on it, you still had meaning in life. Like you still had shit to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's kind of important. People are in the midst of their life, like 30s and 40s. And they have no meaning. They're not doing anything.
Well, and...
That ties into nutrition more than anything. People are at home right now and they're working from home and they're stressed out of their fuck. So it's like...
Because they don't know how to take a break during the day saying, okay, this is my coffee break. I'm going to go take a walk. I'm going to, run on the treadmill for 10 minutes or whatever. You got to stay active.
Yeah.
Or between weight and your sugar levels and just your whole body, every bone joint, you're going to be a cripple.
So your vitamin D, which is a steroidal hormone, which is important for, like you said, sun is important as well. So
I forgot one more thing.
What's the other one?
Actinol.
What is Actinol?
For osteoporosis.
Well, you're a woman over 40, so obviously that's something that you're concerned about, right?
I have osteoporosis.
You have osteoporosis.
Osteoporosis in one hip and osteopenia in the other. They're not that bad, but it kind of plays on my brain sometimes, especially when I'm at yoga. And I think I'm stretching my hips a little too much. I'm just afraid, something's going to... But I have a bone density test. I do my mammogram in October, and I do my bone density in November.
Now, for also people that don't know, we're not talking about a 40-year-old woman or 50-year-old woman. You're 70. You've lived through riots in New York City, blackouts, Florida,
blizzards,
all that shit,
hurricanes.
Right. So you've lived through a lot of traumas in life. You've walked the beat in several locations, all over the East.
Taught school in New York City, taught school in Florida,
right.
Taught school in New Hampshire.
And and you are as healthy as you were, plus or minus a couple things, than you were 20 years ago.
I was in much better physical shape then.
In terms of what? Just because of...
I had more energy.
Oh, you were doing the Jane Fonda workouts, too.
Well, I did some of that.
Yeah.
But, I have to admit, I've slowed down a little.
A little?
Yeah.
But you haven't been eliminated. Like, you could go back to teaching.
Do I want to? No.
No, well, I wouldn't. I mean, imagine a me coming up now.
From what I hear from all my friends is... You're so lucky to have retired. The kids now, they have no respect. They don't give a shit. The parents are pains in the asses. And it's like, it's pissing in the wind. You're babysitting. And it really has to do with parents. The parents just allow it. Oh, honey, you have your macaroni and cheese instead of broccoli. Give me a break. You don't like it? Don't eat it. Go to bed. Sound familiar?
I literally had to just shut up because that's getting clipped. That is getting clipped. That right there is getting clipped and is going into a preview. Right there. I was like, I know what's coming. I know what's coming. A fucking diatribe is coming right now. I need to pull back and let this happen.
Well, you watch a stupid commercial on TV with the mother chasing her with the broccoli and then... the nice Anya song, and she's giving her macaroni and cheese, and the kids are eating with.
Yeah, it's poor advertising. It's bullshit advertising.
It's wrong.
Yeah,
it's absolutely wrong because the parents are no longer in control of their children, and that's wrong. If you don't teach them parameters and what's right and what's wrong, and if there are no consequences, they're going to crap all over you. The kids are going to crap all over you. And, oh, where did I go wrong? I gave him so much love.
You gave him... You
enabled them to be takers and not doers and givers.
And creators.
Yeah. And they're all brain dead. Oh, they walk around all day long. That's all you see. You don't see their faces. You see the tops of their heads. It's disgusting.
Well, no, it is...
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm old-fashioned in that respect.
How is that old-fashioned?
You're sitting at a dinner table, put the goddamn phone, turn it upside down. I don't want to see it. We're having conversation.
You know what's funny is there's so many people that can't even fathom that.
I know.
They don't understand the practice. They don't even understand how to say no. Mm-hmm. You look at them, if you were to see this, if you were just to be the horse fly on the wall and witness it,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it would be insane to comprehend this is how it is now.
Yeah. And that's why kids they're zeros. They have no ambition. They're out to party and to be with their friends and have the latest this and the latest that. Come on. I want a kid with substance.
Well, they want to be what they see online.
It's on TV.
So they see they want to keep up with the Kardashians.
My God, why is that show even on? Who the heck wants to watch those phony baloney people with money? They make me want to throw up. I mean, she got an ass this wide. None of her face is what it was 10 years ago. Oh my God. And her husband's
Oh, Kanye? Yeah, Kanye is he's a cat.
No, he's a piece of shit. I'm sorry. Well, okay, I'm sorry, he's bipolar.
So what?
Yeah, exactly. Hello? I know a lot of people who are bipolar, and they live perfectly normal.
Well, how are we going to be victim to our own disabilities and our own issues? Everybody's got their own problems.
We all do.
We'll figure it out, but you got to give me something in return.
Mm-hmm.
You have to help yourself. You got to want to get up
exactly
and have a direction to go in.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually at the point it's like, listen, we want you to be a winner. Here's a path. Do you want to take it? Okay, good. Are you homeless? All right. Do you want to not be homeless anymore? All right. Here's some opportunities over here. Here's some opportunities over there.
Right.
You want to follow that path?
Exactly.
Do you need mental health counseling? We'll get you there.
And there's so many opportunities and hands out there to help you if you only want to. But they don't know how to accept help in many respects. Mm-hmm. They just, either they don't trust it or something, but it's...
Almost like the will was taken out of them?
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong.
Okay.
The idea of helping people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm in a position to help people. This is why I work with the nonprofits that I've worked with. I worked with the Southern Sudan Project. I still work with HP, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm in a position where I have the time that I'm willing to do that. Number one, it's good content for me. Number two,
also
it allows
the way
me
you were raised.
And number two, it helps me be creative.
Mm-hmm.
And number three, it does help them out because I'm shining a light on a subject or whatever, and it helps them out.
Right.
So I'm helping out animals. Number one.
Mm.
Yeah, most podcasts have cars, lights and sirens going by. But hey, you know what? It's not Los Angeles. Yeah. So the idea that I'm still helping out, dogs that are getting rescued.
Oh, they're so cute.
Right, they are. They're adorbs. And also the fact, the Southern Sudan Project, that was a dire situation.
That was unbelievable.
Right.
That podcast
So
was great.
I shined a light on that. But I'm in a position where I'm not being told I have to do this. I'm making the choice to help. When you're in a position where I want to do it, whether it's built into me or it grew naturally,
probably a little bit of everything.
One can make the argument either way. I don't care. The fact is it's there, and I want to do it, and I have the time and the creativity and time to learn how to be creative in order to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, will I sit here and gloat for the next 45 minutes? Fuck yeah, why not? I deserve it. But the idea
I'll pat you on the back.
But the idea is I love just stuff to be creative.
Mm-hmm.
And any subject or topic, whether it's drift racing or traveling or even weddings, which I was once skeptical of, or nonprofit stuff.
Yeah, we know.
If it allows me to be creative and they benefit because of it, cool. nutrition and health, cool. Like talking about celiac disease, to me, it's a legit thing. I see it from a perspective. We can see it from different perspectives, but I see it from the perspective of food is way too processed. At the end of the day, people even without celiac disease can have this problem because food like Wonder Bread or whatever is so overly processed.
The intolerance, they don't have the full-blown celiac, where they really just should limit what they take.
And also the fact that there's people here from other countries, they had different diets. Mm-hmm. So imagine you are from the South Sudan. Imagine you are here from Somalia. Imagine you are here from the Philippines. Different diet, different lifestyle. You come here, you now are in an office job or taking government money or you are whatever, and now you're here also on top of that eating American food. And I don't mean
you're eating McDonald's.
I don't mean like Angus beef and Prince Edward greens. I'm talking our flour, our processed goods. Yeah. And the next thing you know, these people have several health problems.
Especially diabetes.
Yeah, type 2.
In my supermarket.
Which one?
Food Line. Okay. What I've noticed, they used to have this teeny tiny section for kosher stuff.
Yeah. Not there anymore?
Indian, Chinese, Japanese, Philippine, Spanish, and, I'm looking. I don't remember what the heck I was looking for, but it wasn't there. And I'm looking at all these different ethnicities. I'm saying, this is South Carolina. Hello?
Well,
but they're there.
This is New Hampshire. This is Manchester, and they're here.
Oh, God, yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong.
This is a city.
I've had some of their food, which, to be honest, like South Sudan or Southern Africa or Central African cuisine, it tastes a lot like Jamaican food.
Yeah, that's the other one, Jamaica. Actually, we have two really good Jamaican restaurants in town.
Or, you know what? You talked about fried chicken earlier.
Oh, God.
And you know who makes damn good fried chicken?
You.
Halal. 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 Like Arabic.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Halal fried chicken is insanely delicious.
What is he using as breading?
Don't know. I'd probably get shot if I found out. It's good, though.
Oh, there could be a lot of plants.
I'm sure there's a lot of
made into
ground up herbs and spices. Yeah. But don't get me wrong, fried chicken, like Southern fried chicken and halal fried chicken, probably have some differences in their flavoring and their breading.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, both are amazingly delicious. And I'm sure the best from the West and the best from the East could probably go full.
Yeah. I'll take a bite of this and a bite of that, and I'll be happy.
But there is a lot of similarities when I had South Sudanese rice or chicken or whatever, and I taste a lot of Spanish. A lot. And I don't mean Mexican food. I mean like Spanish. Like when you say, Spanish food, I taste a lot of those flavors in there, and I taste a lot of jerk chicken and types of things like that. And it's like, yeah, we get it. Yes. There's a lot of similarities in all of that.
Yeah, I mean, you think of some of the spices. And they're global. I love curry. I love anything with curry, and I use curry all the time.
Like curcumin and turmeric.
Yeah, but just curry, just plain old.
Yeah.
Oh, I just love the flavor. I make a curried chicken salad with apple slices and sliced grapes and walnuts. Oh my God, that's so good.
I've been doing I go to this fresh market stand, and they have it's like basically like diced up like hard carrot mix, like a coleslaw mix.
Yeah.
And it's got like probably sliced Brussels sprouts in it too.
And raisins.
No raisins.
No raisins?
But it's just the coleslaw mix.
Yeah.
But it's green. And I'll take that and I'll put in a splash of balsamic and a little bit of mayo and make a coleslaw. And then you take like corn nib, like you can take corn on the cob, shave the cob.
Right.
Fry it up, maybe some oil or butter or whatever. And then you take the corn on the cob and you put it in the slaw and mix it up.
And that's like
Try that.
That's like a Spanish or a Mexican.
Right. And and you said the Mexican section of the grocery store. Well, Badia, obviously, as you all know, Badia is one of my favorite spices. They make a hot sauce, obviously, as well. But if you either like Goya makes it, it's either the green or the yellow or the orange. Yeah. And it's just that salt. Mexican salt, basically.
Well,
and you put that in there as well. That goes with anything. You could put it in your meatballs with sesame oil, and you'd have a blast.
I love sesame. I love the smell of it.
Yeah, it's aromatic. You can put it in your peanut butter and have a blast. Well, it's basically like Thai food.
Yeah.
But
Thai food is the other one that's in the supermarket, too.
I use a lot of sesame oil on top of my olive oil.
And it's always in a little jar, a little bottle.
And it's like $2-3. You can get it for like $10 if you want.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of ways to... You haven't abandoned your lifestyle of eating what you want to eat. You still have pastries. I just gave
every once in a while, it's a bagel, lox, and cream cheese, and I'm happy.
Right, but you can still eat dairy. You can still have cheeses. Because a lot of cheeses are gluten-free.
They're gluten-free, but when you have a little bit of a cholesterol issue, you try to limit some of your hard cheeses. But I love cheese.
Right, but there are some cheeses, like, the older they are, the better they are for you. Because they're aged... Which means is the carbohydrates age out of them.
Right.
So if you buy like American cheese, which isn't really cheese. Okay, you know what? Let's take American cheese. That's not cheese. Let's take like Swiss or
Swiss
something.
cheese. Mm-hmm.
That some new cheeses have carbs in them. But when you go for like, the bricks, what is it? Ambrosia or Kirkland Parmesan, the big wheel that you pay like $800 for?
Yeah.
Those cheeses don't have any carbs. Mm-hmm. They're better for you. The enzymes are good for digestion,
right?
And they're fucking delicious. So
I love cheese.
You buy a brick of that,
cheese.
Yeah, you just sit there and you shave it like an idiot, and you just eat all day.
My girlfriend gave me this marble thing. I didn't know what it was.
Right.
And
you slice the cheese.
Yeah, with the wire.
Yep.
Oh, I think it was the coolest thing. I never had one like that, so I thought, ooh, I could buy the cheese and stuff.
It is, and it changes how you view the dish. There are certain things in your cupboard, like whether it's the body of salts, or it's the expensive cheese that you buy, or the hot sauce that you just pour through, or the sesame oil, and you have those in there, and it's the foundation of the method of how you cook going forward.
Right.
Like if anybody,
it's an adventure, and
for example, we talked about meatballs. Mm-hmm. Like you haven't before we talk meatballs, which is important.
And if I don't make meatballs, Timmy's going to shoot me.
It's important. But before we talk about that, like, you haven't, overall, since you were a kid, you haven't abandoned your diet. Like, your choice of food for lifestyle. You still eat pastas. You still eat pastries. You just had coffee cakes 20 minutes ago.
Oh, God, that was good.
Yeah. Shout out to, what the hell was her name? Shout out to Alley Cat Pastries in Chester, by the way.
Thank you. It was yummy.
So, but you're still eating pastries. You're still eating pastas. You're still eating rice. You're still having pizza as long as these things are prepared pizza. With the right doughs.
I've had gluten-free pizza this week. Yeah. What else have I had that's gluten-free?
You have creamers?
Oh, I had pretzels.
Yep.
I have, cookies. Finally, Pepperidge Farm has a gluten-free chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah.
It's so good. They're light. They're crunchy.
You have the crunchy ones? I like the chewy ones.
I like chewy ones, but this is all they had.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was gluten-free.
Wait, I think I just had a chewy gluten-free cookie. It was like an oatmeal raisin. I definitely... You're not an oatmeal raisin guy?
That's not my favorite.
I can dig a chocolate chip.
I like oatmeal for breakfast, but that's about it. I mean, I eat oatmeal. I eat grits. I love all that stuff for breakfast.
I like grits too.
I have my yogurt for breakfast. I'll have some eggs. I'll make maybe a ham and cheese omelet every once in a while.
So you have not abandoned your diet?
I make myself waffles. I make myself pancakes. Everything's gluten-free.
But you just changed up where the sourcing of it is from.
Exactly.
So it is possible whether you
I'm living a perfectly normal life. Before I go to a restaurant, I check out the menu.
And they have a menu for it now. It's not like you're having an Impossible Burger, which is absolutely horrible for you. You're having pasta, or you're having something which just as slightly the ingredients are a little more properly sourced, which is actually a good thing.
Yeah.
So that's the important thing I'm trying to take away is you have not abandoned your way of living.
And you know what? Like last night when I went out to dinner with your brother, I had a hamburger, no bun, which was fine. It was a cheeseburger. I had lettuce and tomato. I had sweet potato fries, and they weren't fried in the same oil as. Now,
sweet potato fry is a legit carbohydrate that bodybuilders eat as well as I do.
I didn't eat a lot of them because they gave me so many.
But they're part of your celiac diet, right?
I love,
and
I like them.
They're gluten-free?
Yeah. As long as there's no breading or anything on them, but there isn't.
And they're delicious. And you can mix them in cinnamon and sugar, or you can have them with plain salt, or you can roll them in honey.
They served it with like a honey mustard.
Yep.
Oh, and I love honey mustard anyway. But it was really good.
Just to let you know where all of my enjoyment of food comes from and how I cook in the kitchen. This is where it came from. I mean, it's been 170 podcasts deep. This is where it's speckled from. Is from the infighting in the kitchen when the insurrections were happening, I was going in there and
this one's on that side of the kitchen, I'm on that side of the kitchen, and he's chopping, and this one's baking, and that one's seasoning.
And it was just, you're witnessing this beautiful chaos. That's what it was. It was beautiful chaos.
Remember when we used to make the cheesecakes, and everybody had an assignment? Somebody was mashing the graham cracker crumbs. Somebody was mixing the cheese.
Same thing with the garlic. Somebody was mashing the garlic.
Do you have a thing of MAAA in the fridge?
No. No. But I do chop fresh garlic, and I do throw in parsley, and I do sometimes make an actual garlic mix.
I always have it in the fridge.
But I can tell you one thing. If we do, it goes super fast. But yes, garlic is heavy in this house. Tomato is heavy in this house. Making our own sauces is heavy in this house. We make, and I don't make, we call it MAAA. We don't make garlic spreads a lot, but I cook make
with it
brodos
constantly.
or sugos a lot.
Okay.
So soup broths, bone, fat, all that stuff. So I make a brodo or a sugo where I cook down the vegetables.
Okay.
And then that gets stored in the freezer because a lot of soup goes down in this house.
Yeah, I bet.
A lot.
Especially
so
in the
I
winter.
always have right now sugos and brodos in the freezer so I can pull that, because when we go to the store you can buy broths, but why would you do that
When you can make it yourself?
you could just
really
make it
cheaply.
yourself. It's everything that you cook in the kitchen, and then you just take it and you put it in a container and you put it in the freezer, because guess what, that's got salts, fats, leftover meats in it, vegetables, onions, garlic. Guess what, you turn that into a soup, it's like, holy shit, my life just changed forever. And this is called Depression-style cooking. It started in the 1930s,
exactly.
and it stems from everyone's ethnicity.
See, that's where my mother learned from her mother during the Depression, my father as well. And they could make
whatever
like
from whatever.
stone soup. You make something out of nothing.
That's exactly it. And you obviously learn what doesn't melt well. Like, for example, spinach doesn't do very well. Broccoli cuts don't do very well.
I love spinach and everything.
Well, if I'm going to put spinach in soup, I put it after the fact. When I'm serving it, I'll put it in.
And don't give me kale. Ooh.
Well, I can do kale in soup, and I chop it up. You wouldn't have a problem with it.
Well, yeah. I would like in a salad? No, thank you.
We do a lot of kale in this house. Full disclosure. But originally,
give me Chinese cabbage or bok choy.
Actually, we do a lot of arugula. A shit ton of arugula.
Oh, you know what I had this year?
Mixed greens and everything.
You know what I had this year? A bumper crop of?
What's that?
Asparagus.
I'm assuming you didn't eat it.
Oh, God, no.
No,
I'm lucky I was able to pick it.
We don't even have a lot of we don't eat a lot of asparagus.
You have to see. I mean, my garden was just overloading and coming back and coming back and coming back. So I cut it down, put it in a plastic bag, give it to my girlfriend's husband. And
so
he's happy as a pig in poop.
Community-based gardening.
I do.
Expensive.
I give away my tomatoes. I sell my eggs. So, I'm here for everybody in my little community. If they need something, they always know if they run out of eggs, they can.
You're producing what? Like a couple dozen eggs a week?
Probably about 2 to 3.
Shit. See, it's crazy, like, the amount of money you're thinking. Think about it, how much money that is over time.
Well, you have to realize that eggs were about $6 a dozen when this pandemic started.
Right.
So I was.
Do you remember that day when the freaking grocery stores were lit up?
March 16th, March 17th. Right around St. Patrick's Day.
Like, I'm just going to go in and get groceries. And I walked in and some of the stores.
No toilet paper. You know what I still can't find?
What?
Rice.
You still can't find rice?
Instant white rice. Just, in an emergency.
Oh.
But I have plenty of basmati, which I love.
Well, wait. Why would you need instant rice?
I don't know.
How busy is your fucking schedule? White rice takes no time to cook. You just make boiling water. You let it sit there for like 20 minutes.
But sometimes I want rice when I come home from yoga, which is at 7 o'clock at night, so I don't get home till like 7:30.
You can't store it in the fridge like a human being?
Oh, well,
You could.
I get
Mom,
sidetracked.
Mom, what time do you get up in the morning?
Between 5:30 and 6:30.
Right. You get up like me. You get up early. I get up at 4:45.
I don't get up. The dogs get up, and they're looking at me like this. Mommy, get up. Get up.
This one just sleeps in the bed.
Yeah, well, Molly is in the bed. Maggie sometimes in the bed. Sometimes she's on the floor.
Yeah.
I miss my babies.
So, where are they right now?
They're at my friend Babette's.
Okay.
They're well taken care of, and then when I come home 2 days later, they're leaving for Illinois, and I'm going to take their boys.
Really? What do they have?
They have a dachshund, a long-haired dachshund. His name is Winston Churchill. And then they have a English Spaniel.
Ooh.
like it. Actually, you put River and Maggie May together, and you say, "Oh, Oreo cookie dogs." He's got a longer tail and really, really long ears. He's a sweetheart. He's such a good boy. They're both really good dogs.
Mm.
And they get along. I mean, I'm over there every Sunday anyway, football Sunday, if we're going to have football. But,
as you can tell, I don't really care about sports whatsoever.
Whatever.
I mean, after Jeter retired,
we do
I
it. It's just our Sunday get-together.
It's community. It's almost like church.
Yeah. We come, we drink, we eat, we drink, we eat,
now,
drink.
You can have wine.
Oh, God, yeah.
There are some beers you can have.
I don't drink beer, period.
You never really did anyway.
No.
I really don't. I think
I don't like the taste.
In the past 3 months, I've had, 3 Heinekens? That's it.
I don't like the taste of beer at all.
You know? I'm not a big fan.
But Jim got me started on this stuff. I don't know what it is, but it's delicious. It's a hard liquor.
Huh.
And it almost tastes like, I don't know, it's like amaretto a little bit.
Like Disaronno?
Yeah, but it isn't. But it's a hard liquor. It's not a
You mean like
amaretto.
a Jim Beam type thing?
Yeah, it's really... I
like
can't
Red
think,
Stag?
It's in a pretty bottle.
Yeah.
He's got a couple of cases of it. He's addicted to it, and he said, "Oh, taste it."
Of course.
Okay, so I tasted it. I said, "Ooh, I like it. Pour me one."
So it's probably like a flavored whiskey or something.
It's something.
Because they're doing that now. Like, whiskeys have had a huge...
Well, like vodka. You have vodka with every fruit and vegetable.
Yeah, but vodka's...
And I don't like vodka.
Vodka's just spicy water.
Ugh.
I mean...
To me, it's rubbing alcohol.
I mean, it's why... at the end of the day, if you have a bottle of just, $20 or $15, it's like, all right, you got your vodka.
Yeah.
There's nothing special about it.
Well, yeah, when they gave me the alcohol wipes when I got on the plane, I opened the little packet and started wiping down things. I said, "Whoa." Smells like smells like vodka.
Well,
or gin. Or
there's a
whatever.
lot of those hand sanitizers and wipes that are
This was 60% alcohol.
Isopropyl.
Yeah, whatever it was
I
really,
used
really strong.
I used it to
mean,
clean
the whole
windows.
plane smelled from it.
Yeah, I use that to clean the windows of my Mustang. That should have wiped the paint off my car.
Yeah, you need Windex.
So, all right. So to close out the nutrition thing, you haven't had to change your lifestyle on. Oh, we had to talk meatballs.
Oh yeah, what about them?
All right. So
you want my recipe?
No.
Okay.
No. I know that you do breadcrumbs, and you've had to kind of.
I use gluten-free breadcrumbs, or I use gluten-free bread.
Now we both agree the secret to a true meatball. Now there's two major ingredients. Number 1 is eggs. Number 2 is the meats that you use. It has to be 2 different meats.
I use regular ground beef.
Yep,
and
like 80-20 or 85-15.
Yeah.
No, do not go low
don't
fat.
go lower than 70. Yeah.
Well, that's just a ball of fat. But I'm saying do not go like super lean.
No.
Because then you lose the fat, which drains out and it gives the tenderness of the meatball.
Well, and then you have the ground pork.
Yep.
And a lot of grating cheese. A lot of Romano and Parmesan.
You do put, I prefer putting cheese in the meatball as well. You put cheese in there, but you like grated cheese like a Parmesan
and Romano.
Or Romano. Or what's the other one?
I try both.
Asiago or a Riccio Provolone.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, but those are more expensive.
Oh, yeah. For a brick of Kirkland's, that's probably $12-15, and that's probably that's like the size of a Lindt chocolate.
Yeah, your niece loves the Riccio. Open up one of those bricks.
Who, Billy?
Yeah. Oh, she loves that stuff.
Yeah. Well, no, Riccio Provolone is one of them, but if you go down to Sal's,
it was Asiago. Maybe it was.
Asiago's delicious.
Yeah.
But the idea that you choose a grated cheese.
Yeah.
You can do mozzarella. You can do. It depends on your
mozzarella. No, you can't put mozzarella in there.
Sure, you can. It doesn't. Now,
first of all, it has no flavor.
It's more creamy and savory, like a burrata cheese.
You have to have something with flavor. It's got to give it that little kick.
Okay.
And then you put in basil, parsley, and mint.
And mint. You do mint now?
I put mint in it too.
Okay.
When I make my jaramoya,
mint's super easy to grow too.
Tell me about it.
It's its own weed.
The original mint that I have is all the way from Long Island.
Yeah, it should be called the Mojito House. Just paint the fucking thing green.
Exactly, and I love mojitos.
Okay, so hold on. So yeah, I do agree. We're differing on cheese. If you have a cheese, put it in the meatball.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you'll get the oils from the cheese, the fat from the cheese, and the flavor from the cheese. Now, what the hell's the matter with me? Mozzarella and like burrata. Which, I don't know about burrata because burrata's it's like an egg. It's basically like an egg, and you crack it, and the cheese comes out. It's very different. It's a lot like ricotta, which you can do too. But
they don't add the.
They
flavor.
don't have the spice. They're not like. Yeah. If you're going to get a Parmesan, do not get a bag of Parmesan. You go and get a brick of Parm.
And shape it yourself.
Or a brick of, it's specifically called ambrosia.
Yeah, and grate it yourself.
And you grate it yourself. That will put more flavor in the meatball than any salts, any seasonings, any oils you could possibly imagine.
I don't use any salt. I'll put in
you don't have to. Now, I would take...
Because the cheese has plenty of salt in it.
Yeah, because let's face it, I would consider like a brick of true Parmesan cheese. That in itself is its own white truffle. That is its own white truffle because a white truffle,
you just nibble at it,
or a black truffle,
nibble at it, have a glass of wine.
Yeah. Like a shaving of truffles at Little Frankie's in New York City will probably cost you $20. Just like 12 shavings of a black truffle will cost you an extra $20 on top of your pizza.
I know.
But if you just take that ground pork and that ground beef and you mix it with ambrosia or a good sharp cheese, whatever you have available in your region, Wisconsin, go fuck yourself. The idea that you can have the most flavorful of food for not a lot of money, because for $3-4 you can go and get a package of ground beef that'll feed your whole family. A package of ground pork will cost you $3-4, and you can sit there and make meatballs. Whatever. If you have a dry oregano mix, fine, grab that.
I even do that too. I don't put a lot of oregano in my sauce.
Right.
Yeah, I don't put it in the meatballs.
And then you just grab whatever brick of cheese that you can grab. I don't care if it's Munster cheese or smoked cheddar. You put that in there and you mix that with it. And then you add, if you want, a little sesame oil or olive oil. And then to keep things a little more held together, you add a specific number of eggs. And eggs are cheap, once again. So the ground beef is inexpensive. The ground pork is inexpensive. The cheese is probably your most
expensive thing.
Right. Yeah, and you don't have to go crazy either.
Well, I'll do like 5 pounds of ground beef, 1 pound
of ground pork. That's actually, I would
usually a dozen eggs.
You go a dozen?
Oh, hell yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know how much. I keep putting the cheese in till I can see the consistency. So it's...
Fuck the Q&A. We're ending on meatballs. So keep going.
Do you have my recipe?
No. I probably have it embedded.
Actually, it's on my computer. If you'd like me to send it to you.
Might as well.
It's on my secret file.
Let me just check something here. I was about to say, are we even recording? No, we're fine. So, another thing on top of that.
And you got to make fresh sauce.
Yeah.
Not gravy. It's sauce.
Hold on. So, we have to carefully. So, you do 5 parts ground beef to 1 part ground pork. Mm-hmm. What about garlic? Do you put garlic in the mix?
A little.
A little.
Because it gets the garlic from the sauce.
That's true. But if you're going sans sauce, because remember when we used to steal them.
You steal them as they were coming out of the frying pan.
Yep.
With the piece of bread and a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Oh,
we didn't care.
I missed that.
We didn't care.
I know.
We could still do it.
That's you know what? I do it too.
Yeah. It's table wine. It was $12 for a bottle of CNR or some fit vine.
It's actually, it is CNR. Yep. And guess what? I still have 5 bottles of it. Whenever you come down, you can come and drink a bottle. Or if I drive up with my truck.
Yeah, most likely.
Because I don't drink.
I'm sorry. With COVID, can we smuggle that shit across the border, or is that like smuggling?
No, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as it's not an open bottle.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is like taking alcohol across the border like taking a gun into Massachusetts.
Yeah,
so you use a little bit of garlic. We're trying to outline a method because it doesn't have to be a recipe. The idea of making your own food is a method. What's your palate comfortable with? So the idea of you use a cheese is important. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's more savory cheeses, and then there's more flavorful cheese.
I stay with the Parm and the Romano.
Okay.
Those
are
the 2.
Eggs are obviously, you use a dozen, but you're using 5 parts ground beef. I'm using usually 2 packages, so I can literally get away with being 3 or 4 eggs.
I was always making them for a family of 5 with a giant appetite.
And I'm just doing it for
now I do it too, because after I make them, and let's say I have friends over for dinner, they eat like peanuts. They eat like parakeets. I bag them, and I put like 5 or 6 meatballs
in the freezer.
And I freeze them. And when I'm in the mood, I have myself spaghetti and meatballs. meatballs. I have a candle. I have wine. I put on some music. I'm a happy camper.
Jerry Vales.
No, God, that's a long story.
Okay, so all right, so we have those in the ground beef and the ground pork, and the cheese. Okay,
and of course, you could always throw some really good sausage in the.
Yes.
And some.
Well, I did play on here once the scene from The Godfather.
Oh, God.
I love you with all my heart. If I don't see you again, I'm gonna die. And then he brings them over and he shows them how to make the sauce.
Right.
Which is kind of like it's like a method for life.
It is.
Yeah. And the idea that you take, okay, so we have the cheeses, we have the garlics, we talked about the seasonings. Now the oils are important. This is a thing.
I don't fry them in olive oil. I fry them in regular oil.
Now that's the thing where we kind of differ. Now, here's the thing. You said you fry them in regular oil. When you talk about frying, you're talking about canola and vegetable oil.
Canola.
Which
usually.
is yeah, that might as well be in an F-350 diesel. That stuff is a death sentence. Now, you do it because...
They say now corn oil is better?
No, oil is terrible. I don't care what anybody says. Corn oil, vegetable oil...
But olive oil's, I find it's just too expensive to...
It is too expensive because for $5 you can do it, but you'll go through it quickly. Now,
but the thing is that I'm frying, in that much oil. And the meatball is that big, and I turn it over and I don't cook them 100% through.
Right, you let them
sit. I put them in.
You let them gang up like penguins and they heat themselves up.
Exactly, and then all the crap drips to the bottom, and then you could drain them out and.
Yeah, or you use it in the sauce to really give it a significant dense flavor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to dry out the meatball.
God, no.
You want to slow cook it.
Give it to the dogs.
Right, and you cover it when you cook it, right? You cover them when you cook them? Or no, you leave it open.
No, yeah, because, I see
you don't want them to get soggy.
Right, and I turn them over.
Because that water will hit the top of the thing and bounce back down.
Exactly.
And it just turns into a river. It's gross.
Ugh.
But the idea that, now you said you do vegetable, I have kind of changed the rhythm of it a little bit.
Okay.
Instead of using, what do you call it? Canola oil and manufacturer oils, which are terrible for you. I have resorted to using olive oil because you don't have to use a lot. Or
you can bake them.
Or no, butter. Butter. Number one, butter is healthier for you. And number two,
use very little.
And because with butter you can get a crispier edge, just like you can with the canola oil or the vegetable. You can get a crispy edge because you want to have a layer around that meatball.
Butter.
Yeah. Try it.
I have to think about that.
Experiment.
Okay.
Go have a little.
And actually, I plan on I'm going to make meatballs.
Have a little wine party session in the kitchen and try some in butter. Now, if you really want to get if you really want to get ridiculous and maybe piss off a couple animal activists, you can also go with duck fat. Holy shit! Look out! Duck fat is insane because that puts a crispy edge on nothing I've ever seen before.
What I would give for some duck. I have 2 ducks living next door.
Quack. Duck fat, when you fry a meatball in duck fat, you can't understand when you just bite into a regular meatball, go to your regular fake Italian place, have a meatball, and then have one cooked for you in duck fat.
See, I won't eat a meatball any place other than home because I don't know what's in it.
Because we know what we're doing.
Well, that and I don't know what's in it.
That's also true.
That's my primary thing. I don't know what's in it. I don't know if they put breadcrumbs in it. Or
now, you used to do that, though. You used to put breadcrumbs or breading in that.
Bread.
Now, why did you switch out? And how were you able to overcome not having that moistness within the meatball?
Because I use gluten-free bread.
So you do use a breading in it still?
Yeah, it depends on what I have in the house.
But if you don't, you can go without and still make a dense...
And it's got to have either breadcrumbs or bread.
It has to? See, yeah, I would argue against
because I'm using a dozen eggs.
Right, but it doesn't dry out. Oh, because you're trying to hold it together.
Gotta hold it together.
I don't use as many eggs.
Okay. I like my fluffy meatballs.
Well, no argument there.
When you bite into it and, it dribbles down your face. And, yeah.
Looks like a... So... No, I do agree that the breadcrumbs do allow the meatball to hold water, and it keeps it together, but I think that with the...
I think originally they used the bread to stretch it more back in the olden days.
Use what you got.
Yeah. Well, if you had only a pound and you were feeding a family of 10...
There is another method, too.
Yeah.
I don't use it a lot, but I found it to be quite good.
Yeah.
And is instead of using breading or trying to stretch out the amount of meat that you have within the meatball, you can go with beans. You can use black beans. You can use red beans. You can use cannellinis, Great Northerns. And it actually, even if you don't like them, it actually works. And it produces a different... the flavor is not bad.
I'm not a bean person. Give me Bush's baked beans. That's my extent of beans.
What? You just not a fan of the flavor in general, or?
I just don't like the texture in my mouth on beans.
Well, it's... No. Encompassing, like, beans with the ground meat, not just beans.
Okay. Sorry,
you're just not that type.
No.
See, this is the old school coming out right here.
This can't do it.
But can you make a meatball tender without? I think you can, if you go the butter route, because remember you're using canola oil, which focuses mostly on the outside, the peripheral,
which
of
is
the meatball.
Exactly what I want.
Whereas olive oil or butter can get inside the meatball,
which I don't need.
It juicy.
Which I don't need it. Because they're juicy enough with the
breadcrumbs.
With the eggs.
With the eggs.
Yeah.
So the question is because if you use too many eggs, the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah.
If you don't use it enough, there's a dry. So you have to find that happy medium to kind of keep them kind of...
That's why my recipe is top secret.
Oh, yeah? You were just willing to send me the freaking... the Enigma code just 10 minutes ago there.
I'll send it to you because you're family.
Yeah. Heads up there, U571. Right? I already know. Yeah. And to close, and to close up, speaking of U5, heads up, I did just watch another submarine movie. So if you're into watching submarine movies, Hunter Killer with Gerard Butler is actually a pretty good one too.
I actually saw that, and I was almost going to watch it, but I didn't because I wasn't in the mood for something so
submarine-y.
Morbid.
It's not morbid. It's actually like an action thriller movie.
Is that based on a true story?
No, nothing Gerard Butler does is based on a true story. Well, 300 was.
Yeah.
Kinda.
It
was 300, sorta. That's what it should have been called. It's like 300.
That and what was the other movie he was in?
Olympus Has Fallen?
No.
He did the one about the criminal justice system,
what
too.
Was the...
He did Gamer, which will probably come true. Gerard Butler?
Wasn't he the one where he ended up being... He had the wife and the kid, and they killed...
Yeah. Met Out for Justice. What's the matter with me? Jamie Foxx was in it.
No, this was ancient history. Shit, why can't I remember it?
He was in it? Oh,
I think it was Gerard Butler.
You think?
He was.
He was Leonidas. That was 300.
That was 300.
Yeah.
No, this was not 300.
We'll have to go. Well, hold on.
It was Greece. Ancient Greece.
Let me go to. We'll close out on. Let me go to IMDb and we'll look up.
We're going from meatballs to ancient Greece.
Right. We'll close out. Well, they're kind of the same thing. Greece to Greece. Let me look up Gerard Butler. I'm doing good here.
I'm pretty sure it's Gerard Butler.
So let's look up Gerard Butler. There he is. What a handsome son of a bitch.
Okay.
All right. We'll close out. We'll look at
and I think it was like the first real good movie that he made.
Let's see. Let me go back to when he started kicking around. God, he's been around a while.
Yeah, he has.
He was in Tomorrow Never Dies. Fast Food. Let's see. One More Kiss. Mrs. Brown. Hold on. Dracula 2000. I don't think you saw that.
God.
Attila. The Jury. Reign of Fire. Oh, yeah. That was a good movie.
No.
Lara Croft Tomb Raider. Timeline. Phantom of the Opera. Oh, there you go, Ma. Beowulf. Nope. 300. King Leon. Shattered. P.S. I Love You. Don't think that was it. Rock and Rolla. Nope. Nims Island. Ugly Truth.
Maybe it was a different actor then.
Probably. Gamer. Law-Abiding Citizen. Bounty Hunter. Coriolanus, that was a terrible remake. Chasing Mavericks, Olympus Has Fallen, Gods of Egypt, which tanked. And then Geostorm. That was a silly movie.
It wasn't a Gerard Butler.
Nah, I don't think it was Gerard Butler, Ma. Sorry.
Phoenix was in the movie.
Joaquin Phoenix?
Joaquin Phoenix was the bad emperor.
Oh, that's Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe.
Jesus Christ,
I get the
Mom.
two of them mixed up.
You should take some memory pills. You need to take some Alpha Brain. That's what you need to do. There
There's
you go.
too much up there. It gets confused.
All right, we just did an hour and 3 minutes.
Okay.
We fucking yeah. Good job, Pupper.
Good
All right.
boy.
You can find me on Instagram at +_sarcasm.
Bye. I'll be back by phone.
You can find me on TikTok. You can also find Facebook.com/POSSarcasm. If you have questions or comments or concerns, you can email me. Hate mail, +sarcasm@outlook.com.
And you can't have my
If you have
meatball
questions
recipe.
or methods about meatballs, you can hit me up in my DMs or whatever. No dick pics, please. Thank you for stopping by. This will be up all the iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, even Podbay. I just checked. We're on there too. Anywhere where podcasts are available, you can find and stream me. Support any way, shape, or form, +sarcasm@outlook.com. There we go. That's about it. Thank you for listening, watching, and subscribing. I will talk to you all next week. Recorded here from the Spare Parts Studio, this has been a Positive Sarcasm presentation.